Guys, before I get into today's video, we have to talk about the giveaway here on the channel. We currently have the 1969 Dodge Charger with the Hellcat swap coming to an end here on the 17th with insane amount of extra entries that are up right now. It was up for the first 5 orders. There are 2 remaining, 3 sold yesterday. And the same thing, there is a couple of different packages that are up that either combined the 69 Charger and the 3500 diesel, or the 69 Charger and the Dodge Viper truck. All of that stuff can be found out, and you can learn more at the link in the description down below, tk'sgarage.bigcartel.com. Once they sell out, it will say sold out on those, and the extra entries on those individual items will fall off. Anyways, let's get into today's video. Well, I guess I can talk about this now if they're already showing this to dealers. Remember I told you that I had an idea and I didn't want to disclose stuff where Matt had just became the CEO of Chrysler. You guys remember we were sitting at dinner at New Hampshire or whatever, or Vermont, wherever the last Dodge event was that I was at. And while we're sitting there at dinner, I find out that Matt has become the CEO of Chrysler. We do the post and all that stuff, and then you see it go crazy, right? And during that conversation, we're talking about, things that I thought should happen. And I was talking about bringing back the Chrysler 300, rebranding the Grand Wagoneer as a Chrysler Aspen, stuff like that, right? Stuff that they could do right away to get Chrysler some products. And then Matt said, nope. Matt said that they wanted to make Chrysler kind of the value brand in terms of cheaper cars, cheaper transportation, giving you more value for a lower price. I'm all about it. And he said he doesn't think he needs to be competing with BMW and Mercedes and these other luxury brands. And he's right. They have Maserati. He's also the CEO of Alfa, right? They have those brands to do that. Makes sense. Well, Chrysler showed dealers a new car priced in the $20,000 range. Now, is this the $30,000 Halo car? Maybe. This might be a lesser engined optioned car. Now, it's funny because we've had so much, I have access to stuff I'm not supposed to have access to. I'll say that. That's the best way I think I can describe what I get access to. I can see things when they get built at factories and stuff like that. When I talk about the Stealth and the Duster, those names, it's not because it's one vehicle and it has a code name and it's going to have an actual name. It looks like they're going to bring back several vehicles. Now, this vehicle from Chrysler is small, and it's not set in stone right now. This is a concept vehicle. This is a not realistic vehicle that they're going to start producing tomorrow, but just something that they've clay modeled out, that they have a rolling example of, that they showed to these dealers. And think neon Dart, but just not Fiat Dart, all right? So the Dart was just a Fiat rebranded thing, okay? And that we know that doesn't work. They just learned their lesson with the Alfa Tonale that they made the Hornet. That shit's not gonna work. They have to make their own thing and let it go from there. And that's what I believe Chrysler's doing. And you're gonna see it at Chrysler. You're going to see it at Dodge. It'll be called 2 different separate things. And it's going to be a cheap, affordable car. And they say in the 20,000s. Yeah. 28 or 27,499 or whatever was what they quoted one of these dealers. Now, I'm going to put it like this. A lot of you guys know that I have friends that own dealer groups in Chrysler, Dodge, Jeep, Ram. So I've known about this for a minute. And while I was out in Vegas, I was sitting down and having drinks with somebody, and they told me the same thing. and was telling me what this thing looked like, and it matches up with everything that we've talked about previously. They're going to make different models of this thing. They'll make a Chrysler version, which may look a little bit different than the Dodge version, right? It's going to be a small car. And then, everyone's wondering, they're like, why are they trademarking all these Plymouth names, but not Plymouth? Well, I think it's not going to be Plymouth coming back as the value brand. Chrysler is now going to be the value brand. And you're going to see Plymouth brand names like Cuda and stuff like that are going to be SRT models. And I think it's going to be the same thing with this. You're going to have a Dodge version of this car. You're going to have a Chrysler version of this car. And you're going to have an SRT version of this car. And this itty bitty, and it's not itty bitty, I shouldn't say itty bitty ass car, but it's like, think Honda Civic-esque size, right? You're going to get a vehicle like that could come 2-door and 4-door with an inline-6 Hurricane high output in it. That car is going to smoke everything else in the inventory of Stellantis right now. And I'm talking about Hellcat Durango won't be able to sniff the nutsack of this little car with a Hurricane engine in it. I'm telling you. Especially, and it's still up for debate, whether they're going to all-wheel drive the thing or whether it's going to be front-wheel drive only. We don't know yet. That's how in development this car is. But dealers are excited because it's the one thing that they need the most. Dealers are literally fighting over themselves to get their hands on Durangos. The customer, I don't want to say, not request, but the customers are 100% looking for deals, with the average new price of a vehicle being like $48,000. So when you get a Durango, 3-row SUV with the horsepower that it has, with a 392 engine in it, people are all over that at $52,000. Stellantis is right on the edge. Dodge, Chrysler is right on the edge of roaring back. And that's why I told you when I heard this bullshit about, oh, we're only going to focus on 4 brands. Fucking retards, man. Chrysler is going to be key to Stellantis' revival in terms of them becoming massively profitable again. And it's going to come down to this car, which will probably launch as a Chrysler first, a Dodge next, and the SRT a little bit later. And I don't think they're going to be able to keep them in stock. I really don't. You're going to have a car that could smash 2023 Hellcats. You're going to have a car that's an SRT, whatever this is going to be, Duster, whatever they're going to call it. Probably the SRT will be a Duster, but let's say it's they reuse the Dart name. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it's a Stealth. Maybe it's the Avenger. I don't know. I think the Avenger name's being used for Jeep or whatever right now in Europe. But let's say they come with the Duster, the SRT Duster, and you can buy this neon-esque looking vehicle, which doesn't look like a neon. That's the other thing. They're actually making this thing kind of look like a premium small car, Viper-esque, right? Let's say they come with this vehicle, and out the door, max horsepower you can get and everything in this thing, $43,000 or $45,000, and it smokes Hellcats from 2015 to 2023. It destroys them. It runs 10 seconds in the quarter. Stock. They won't be able to keep them in stock. They're going to sell so many of them, and they're going to get people onto the Hurricane platform. It will be effing insane. I don't know how they're going to pass NHTSA safety with a car that goes that fast in crumple zones. Who knows? Maybe they can do it, but I think this is absolutely huge. And major shout out to my dealer friends, for keeping me in the loop. I appreciate it. You know, the same thing that when they keep me in the loop for something I don't get access to or I don't get to see, you know, I'm able to keep them in the loop for things that I figure out or find out through my sources. So, but it's right here. And now I think it's funny now. All of these websites that were saying Chrysler was dead are now saying it's coming. And they talk about right here. Late last year, we heard that Chrysler was planning a radical revival that would include a new sedan, new crossovers, and something that would cost less than $30,000. Now, a dealer has told Detroit News that last fall, Stellantis showed its dealers an affordable Chrysler concept that would be priced in the 20,000s. The concept reportedly had the name Pronto, which was used in several concepts in the 90s that would ultimately become the PT Cruiser. What's more is that they say that it's small, affordable, and future products were shown for Dodge and Jeep. However, don't get excited just yet. None of the products mentioned has been confirmed for production, and images or other information about these vehicles were not shared. But it sounds like Stellantis is testing the waters after a tough 2025. I even said this last year. I knew that this was coming, but we thought this was going to be a Dodge. Now that Matt is in charge of Chrysler, and it's kind of changing, they're looking at possibly changing the view of Chrysler, of being a Mercedes / BMW competitor to being a value brand, not just a luxury brand. And there's some other stuff coming on the Pacifica, which, you know, they have some concepts of them building off-road versions of the Pacifica. But, and again, I have so much more to verify on that, but there could be a Hemi-powered Pacifica. Do I believe it? Not really, but you never know. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Give the video a big thumbs up if you like what I do. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And as always, stay petty, my friends.